What's up, YouTube? Trav here with another mouth-watering recipe. Now, with this sandwich, it was literally just something that I was sitting there thinking about one day. I wanted to make a chicken parmesan sandwich, and I started going over all the ingredients in my head on what I wanted to use in the sandwich and how I wanted to make it. And it's one of those things that I was literally just experimenting with and trying something new. And I gotta say, it is one of the best sandwiches I've ever made. This thing is addicting. It's crunchy. It's got a ton of flavor. It checks off all the boxes that you want in a sandwich. So we're just going to jump right into this. I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to go over the ingredients right now. So the first thing you're going to need is some thinly cut chicken breast. We also have some Panko breadcrumbs. We have some progresso Italian breadcrumbs. I like to mix these two together when I'm making chicken parmesan because this gives it a nice flaky texture and this gives it a lot of flavor and makes it a little dense so that it coats the chicken well. We're also going to use some mozzarella cheese. We have some sourdough bread. We have some flour. That's a half a cup to 3/4 cup of flour. We got a couple of eggs. We got Italian seasoning. We have basil, some parsley, we have some onion, and we have some garlic powder. Also, we're going to be putting a little bit of this on our sandwich as well. It is a balsamic vinegar, kind of like a chef's reduction. It's kind of thick. It's got a little sweetness to it. Really going to want to put that on your sandwich. It really brings out the flavor of your tomato. We got a tomato, and we're just going to start putting it together. So here we go. And we have some Romano cheese. Now, I'm using Romano cheese over Parmesan cheese because this is more of a salty, sharp flavor, and Parmesan cheese is more of a sweet flavor. So I think this is going to be better for our sandwich. So we got a little bit of salt and pepper in our flour right now, probably about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put our onion powder in. Our Italian seasoning, our basil, parsley, and our garlic powder. And you're going to mix that around. Once you got that mixed up real good, we're going to move on to our eggs. When you're mixing your eggs, you want to make sure that you mix them well. You don't want them to be stringy. This is actually kind of a large bowl to be doing it this way. I should have probably done it in a smaller bowl, but this is going to do what we need it to do. So I like to beat the eggs until they're consistent and they're not stringy anymore. After you've beat them for about a minute or so, you kind of want this consistency right there. You don't want it to be clumpy at all. See how it just kind of pours off the fork and it's not long and stringy? That's what you're looking for. That's when you know you beat the eggs good. So with your breadcrumbs, you basically want to do equal parts. So in this, we're making a couple of sandwiches, so we're only doing a few pieces of chicken. So you're probably going to want about a half a cup of each for a couple pieces of chicken. So that's probably a little bit more than a half a cup. And then we're going to do about another half a cup with our progresso breadcrumbs. Just like that. So 1 to 1. Mix that around. Once you have your bread sliced, you can move that to the side. Next, go ahead and cut up your tomato. Get your tomato slices done. Thinly sliced. And this looks like a really good tomato. All right, cut your mozzarella cheese into some slices. Throw the wrapper away. Make sure that's not stuck to your cheese. So we're going to cut a few slices, probably a couple slices for each sandwich. So we're going to do 4 slices. First thing you want to do with your chicken is, I have some pretty thinly sliced chicken here, but you still want to pound it out because it's going to give it a much better texture. It's going to make it more consistent in every bite. You're not going to have any gristly spots or anything like that. So we're going to pound the chicken out a little bit. Put it in a plastic bag. Go over it a couple times. You don't need to beat the hell out of it. Just flatten it out a little bit. Soften it up. Once they've loosened up and flattened out, your chicken is ready to start coating it with the flour and the breadcrumb. Okay, so grab your first piece of chicken and go ahead and put it in your flour, and make sure that when you're coating your chicken, let me bring it over here, with the flour, that you get it in there really good. So basically what I like to do is I kind of put it in there, kind of pat it down, and then flip it over, and then I put a bunch of flour over the top of the chicken. And then you want to really push it in there because you want this to stick to your chicken. This is going to help your egg and your breadcrumbs stick to your meat so it doesn't come flaking off and falling off while you deep fry it. Once you got both pieces of chicken done and coated, do both sides the same way. Want to make sure that we get it coated really well. And push it in there. And then once your chicken is done, it should look like that. You're just going to kind of knock off the excess, and it should look just like this. So then after that, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put that into your egg. Both sides. Move it around in there. Get it in there really good. When it's coated with the eggs well, we're going to move that over to our breadcrumb. And then you want to pack your breadcrumb in there the same way. You want to get it on both sides of the chicken really well. Flip it over a couple times. Make sure we get it really coated. You want to make sure this is thick and covers the chicken completely. This is a little messy, but it's all worth it in the end, I promise. So once your chicken is coated, your chicken should look like that. Okay, when you deep fry your chicken, you want to have your oil at about 350 degrees. You don't want to set your chicken in there and it just soaks. You want it to fry, but you don't want it to fry too fast. So 350 is what we're looking for. If you have a thermometer, you can go ahead and hit the thermometer on it and it will tell you exactly where you're at. We're at 348. We're perfect. I'm going to put in the first piece of chicken. Don't put the second piece in there immediately. Just kind of let it sit. And then what I like to do is I just kind of coat it on top a little bit like that so it starts getting a good fry on top. We're going to flip it over here in a little bit. But right now we're just trying to let it get some color on the bottom. Check your temperature. See where your temperature is at. And right now we're at 310. So we need to let that temperature come back up because it's a little on the cool side. So I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. We're going to get it back up to 350. Once you have it back up to 350 degrees, place your second piece of chicken. I got it on high right now because I'm going to try to keep this thing as hot as I can because these are some very large pieces of chicken breast. That's perfect. We're at 360 degrees. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit, and we're going to let that chicken cook for a few minutes, and then we're going to flip it. All right, this one right here looks like it's ready to flip, and this is the color that you want right there. That looks great. That's what you're looking for. I like to just kind of keep hitting it with the oil like that just to make sure that we're still getting the color on it, and it helps to kind of coat it evenly and cook it evenly. Same with this side. Second piece is ready to flip. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect color. Beautiful. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a nice golden brown. This one right here is just about ready to come out, and I'm just going to take this one out and I'm going to place it over here on our baking rack, and we're going to finish them off in the oven. I'm going to set the oven for 350 degrees, and that will finish cooking the chicken all the way through, because we're only cooking the chicken right here just to get color and the fry on the outside. It's not going to cook the chicken all the way through. Flip this one over one more time, see what we look like on the other side. And that is the color that I'm looking for. So this piece of chicken is done. I'm just going to place it to the side, and we're going to finish off this other piece, and we're going to put them in the oven. Check the other side of this chicken, see how we're looking. Looks good. Baste it. Get some good color on that chicken all the way around. My edges are starting to get to the color that I want them, so that's telling me that it's about ready. It's going to be nice and crispy. It's going to have a ton of flavor. We're still going to have nice juicy chicken on the inside. We're still sitting right at about 345 degrees to 350 degrees. That's the color I'm looking for right there. This piece of chicken is done. We are ready to go into the oven. All right, so our chicken's in. I got the oven set at 350 degrees. We're going to let the chicken cook in there for about 10 to 12 minutes. Then I'm going to pull the chicken out. I'm going to put some of my tomato sauce on top of the chicken. I'm going to put the mozzarella cheese on the chicken. I'm going to stick it back in the oven. So the way that we're going to coat our bread, and for the outside, for us to get a really good crisp, we're going to use mayonnaise. Don't think it's going to taste like mayonnaise when it's done. This is just going to give it a nice crisp. It's going to be better than using butter. Butter kind of makes the bread soggy when you try to fry it. So we're going to use mayo. So we're going to do a couple tablespoons of mayo. We're going to do some garlic powder. Probably a teaspoon of garlic powder. A little salt. A little pepper. And we're going to mix that up. All right, so there's our mayo. Now what you want to do is you want to put your Romano cheese in it. This is strictly up to how much you want to put in there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take probably, let's do 2 tablespoons of the cheese, and then we're going to mix that up in there. Should become kind of a thick, pasty texture, kind of like that. Just like that. That's what you want right there. And we're just going to take some of that. We're going to put it on our bread. Spread that on your bread. Get it nice and coated, just like garlic bread, except we're using a little mayo, and it's going to give it a whole lot better crunch than regular butter. That's what you want your bread to look like. Got a nice coating on it. It's going to make for an awesome crunch. It's going to have a bunch of flavor as soon as you bite into it. Okay, so now I'm going to take you over here. We're going to put our bread on. First thing you want to do is you want to put your bread on face down. We want to get a little bit of toast on the inside so the bun doesn't get soggy. It's going to make for a more crunchy sandwich this way. We're going to let those sit on there for about a minute that way, and then we're going to flip them over, and we're going to start to let them cook on the outer side till we get a nice golden brown. About this time, I'm going to take you back over here, and I'm going to show you how we're going to finish off our chicken. Our chicken smells and looks delicious. This is going to be amazing. I don't know how hot these are. No, they're not too bad. And we're going to finish them off with some sauce on top. So basically, we're going to take some of our tomato sauce. If you want to know how to make this tomato sauce, you can refer back to my other chicken parmesan video, and it shows you exactly how to make the sauce. I will be making a future video on just this sauce so that we can, you could go back to it, because I do a lot of recipes with this same sauce, and sometimes I add different kinds of flavors in there. Like this time I used a little bit more rosemary, still the same amount of garlic, and I also used some thyme and oregano. Place your mozzarella cheese on top of your chicken. I probably could have just left it on the baking sheet, didn't even have to take it off. We're going to set that back over there. It's going to go back into the oven until our cheese is melted. We're going to let that finish for about 3 to 5 minutes. So our bread has been on for about 2 minutes. You can tell that it's starting to look, it's got more moisture to it now. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them over. You don't want to cook your bread too much because you don't want it to get hard. And we're going to turn this down a little bit to a medium low. We're going to let that cook until we get a nice golden brown color on the bottom. Okay, now that our bread is all done, we're going to take that off the heat. We're going to bring it over here. We're going to build our sandwich. So we're going to put a little bit more of the tomato sauce on our bread. Now, the bread is a lot smaller than the chicken, and I didn't really realize that until I got the chicken out and I pounded it out to how large the chicken breast was. So our chicken is going to be much bigger than our sandwich or our bread, but it's still going to be just as amazing. We're going to put our sauce on, your tomato. This tomato got destroyed. And then the chicken goes on top. So we're going to put our chicken on here. The final step is we're going to put some of the balsamic vinegar on top of it. Just a little bit. Don't need a lot. About like that. Just a little extra flavor. All right, let's cut into this bad boy and see what we got here. Nice and crispy. That looks like a bomb sandwich right there. Look at this. Bam. I'm going to dig in. I'm going to start with one of the edges of the corners. I think that's going to be the best bite. You know when you're eating a meal and you halfway through it and you just get that perfect bite? You ever think about that? You ever just sit there and you're eating your food and then all of a sudden you just get that bite that just has every flavor that you want? Well, I'm hoping that my first bite is like that. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, man. That thing is juicy, tomatoey, crunchy, got some garlic. We have a nice bread texture to the chicken. Mmm. 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 Woo. It's definitely a messy sandwich, but it is absolutely delicious, man. This is one awesome sandwich. It is addicting. You're going to want to make these on a regular basis. Mm. Mm. Oh, man. The Romano cheese has the perfect texture and the perfect flavor. Gives it a nice salty, kind of sharp flavor to the outside of the bread. You don't taste the mayo. The mayo has just made the bread super crispy. Mm. Mm. That is one messy, amazing tasting sandwich. I don't think there's much more to talk about. Try this recipe. You'll want to come back and make it on a regular basis. Your family and friends will love it. Anyways, that's what cooking's all about. It's about showing love, and this is the way I show love, is through food. So make this sandwich. Let me know what it tastes like. Let me know how it comes out. If you like the video, give me a like, subscribe, comment, share the video with your friends, and let's make some more recipes. I'll be seeing you in the next episode. Have a great night.